Safe houses are super cool, but they're all fairly similar in the way they're constructed. You know, you've got weapons, you've got TNT, you've got traps, they're all pretty aggressive. And I'm not a very aggressive guy. You know, I don't like hurting anything. I wouldn't even hurt this guy over here. So I thought it'd be interesting to build up a safe house that doesn't have any of those things. There's nothing that can cause any physical harm. It's all peaceful. Now, that doesn't mean that someone can just walk in. You know, that wouldn't be a particularly safe house. No, it's going to be a safe house that relies on systems that just make life frustrating. This could work. It could also totally fail. I guess we'll reevaluate things at the end of the video once it's all finished. First things first, we need the house itself. And the house is actually going to be dropped down into the ground just to make it extra safe. Now, this does have one slight little negative to it, though, and that is the fact that I haven't been able to use any overhangs, okay? And I know this is like a crime in the building world. I do think, despite this fact, it's actually quite a sweet little house. Like, I wouldn't mind living here, especially if we get a little bit of plant action going on around the edges. But at this point in time, it's not particularly safe. Other than the fact that it's in a slightly precarious position, it's not really protected from anything. So let's get to work on some of the defenses. Thing number one is the maze. Here we go. So the idea is pretty simple. On the outside, we're going to have a combination lock. If you know the combination to the combination lock, then this block will drop down and you can walk straight through into the base. All of the passive defenses will be turned off. If you don't know the combination, however, you're in for a world of peaceful pain because you're going to be faced with a number of obstacles, the first one being a maze. And this isn't going to be any maze. This is going to be a particularly peacefully painful maze. If you can't tell, I really like saying that. It has been absolutely ages since I've built a maze in Minecraft, but if I remember correctly, the best way to do it is to build up the correct path first, so then you actually have a correct path, and then do all the offshoots. Things are going pretty well, I'm feeling fairly good about this. Let's add, oh, we can add kind of a little spiral into there. Right, and then this wraps back up and around, and goes back into this place, maybe with an extra little bit of noise. Yes, something like this, there we go. Okay, so we have just connected it all up, so you can see, if you have the combination, straight through. If you don't have the combination, then it's quite a long path. Now time to add in the squiggly bits to go absolutely nowhere. This is going to be entertaining. Oof, this one's going to be a particularly nasty one. I feel bad putting these in, to be honest with you. It does look ridiculously cool though, doesn't it? Like, there's nothing cooler looking than a Minecraft maze, especially when it's made out of leaf blocks. Sure, you know, they might not be the best maze blocks given the fact that they're partially transparent, but it's the authenticity that counts. Anyway, time to make this even more painful. I've been doing a little bit of experimentation around crawling, and I've found the slowest method for all use cases. You see, if you have soul speed, you can actually whiz through quite quickly, but soul speed does not work for honey blocks. And honey blocks make things painfully slow. Like, horrendously slow. Like, super slow. Ridiculously. I'm going to stop that. Now, if you're wondering if I'm going to test it to see how long it would take to complete the maze, yeah, that's not going to happen. So the maze is now fully covered. Now, I should probably use solid blocks for this. You know, that would be a lot better because then the player wouldn't be able to trace the maze, potentially. But as a bit of a shameless confession, that wouldn't make a very good YouTube thumbnail, would it? You know, just a big grey blob, so I've used glass purely for that reason. And you clicked on the video, so it clearly worked. Right, it is now time for our next passive defense, and it involves going underneath the maze and doing a little bit of redstone. I just need to run one long loop all the way around that will connect itself up, and this is where the true torture begins. I sometimes think that I might be being too cruel here. Like, what if through not committing any harm to the Minecraft player, I actually commit harm to the person controlling the Minecraft player because they get so frustrated with this thing that they cause themselves harm? That was a very long-winded joke, but I'm leaving it in. I think some of you can probably see where this is going already, but if you can't, let me just quickly explain it to you. Oh gosh, it's worse than I remembered. Oh, and you start throwing trapdoors in as well. It doesn't get any better. This actually feels wrong. I don't think I've ever made a noise machine quite this big before. It is horrific. You probably can't even hear me right now. This is definitely transcended regular Minecraft noise. Like, this is just awful. This is just straight up terrible. What a horrific position to be in. No, I'd leave this house alone for sure. I would not be trying to break into this place. Right, let's get to work on the security system that activates and deactivates this thing. I think that's probably pretty urgent. And you know what? I was going to do something a little bit boring here, but I've had a sudden urge to do something that I haven't done in a very, very long time. And that is a large-scale color combination lock. That's much more interesting than the lever combination lock I had planned. Now, these are one of those redstone contraptions that look like they should be complicated, and they always look quite impressive when they're working, but they're actually ridiculously simple, just consisting of a couple of piston feed tapes, and then you've got one piston feed tape with the colors in it. The other one stores what the combination is, and then you can use that to create a combination lock. And I realized that that sounds complicated. Okay, it even sounds complicated, but it's not. I don't know how I thought this was only 12 blocks, because looking at it, it is clearly not 12 blocks. After reducing the scale of things just a tiny bit so we can actually keep up with the piston push limits, this should now all be functional. So if I hit this button, we should get a full rotation. You can see that everything is shifting around, and these blocks are cycling. So that is working well. The combination up on the top should be changing, which we can see right here. We now have wool blocks and concrete blocks. These are the colors. And the idea obviously is that you know what colors should be visible inside these little strips right here, and when they are correct, then that's when everything will open up. So now it's time to build what I've done here on the other side as well. Let's see, does it all work? No. I mean, it was bound to break at some point. Oh, that's disappointing. But now it should all be fixed up. So this one's running. We've got this one running as well. Now we need to work out what we actually want the combination to be. And I would say, because I'm a total moron and I'm very prone to forgetting things, lime green concrete on this side, lime green wool on that side. Right, I think we should be ready for a full test here. So currently the combination is correct. Everything is opened up. We can walk straight in and there's no deafening noises. If the combination is incorrect, then this is all working as it should be. And it is... yeah, it's just as bad as I remember. Now let's see, can we actually get this combination correct? There is our little green piece of wool, and we need to make sure that we time this correctly. There we go. So our combination is back to being correct. Everything has opened up. The bells have stopped, and everything is better in the world. It's time for more peacefully painful defenses. All right, let's get some of these guys in. That needs to be a solid block. We need to make sure that they are completely surrounded by solid blocks. And then I guess if we just run target blocks next to them, then we can power them with a redstone line just off in this direction. And then we just need a little pressure plate over here that the player is going to activate as they complete the maze. Piston on the bottom of it with a redstone block, and that should do us. So as we go over the pressure plate, all of these droppers are going to activate. Now what's going to be in the droppers? Remember, we can't harm the Minecraft player in any way, shape or form. We need to harm the person behind the Minecraft player. And to do that, we're going to be using insults. I'm going to fill these droppers with various different insults that they're going to receive as they approach the house. This idea is so silly. Even your mum thinks you are ugly. All your friends think you smell. You can't dance as well as you think you can. No, does that not fit? I guess we'll just go with you can't dance. Your jokes only get sympathy laughs. Your voice is generally grating. Your legs are too long for your body. That one is particularly painful for me, given my legs are probably too long for my body. They're too long in general. Really, to be quite frankly honest with you. Anyway, if we walk across here, this activates and our weapon has been primed and loaded, and it is working well. We got 100% hit rate. All of the insults landed in my inventory. Now, the funny idea that I've just come up with is, of course, if we get the combination correct, not only should we not get the insults, which obviously we're not going to get any of the insults, but I actually think it should pay us compliments as we walk up to our house. So let's see how well this works then. Turning off the combination lock, everything opens up, and our compliments are now armed and ready. As I say, this might just be one of my daftest redstone ideas. Okay, now onto the defense around the house. As you can see, our house is currently floating, and there's a 2 wide gap going all the way around. And I want to fill this with a cobweb drop, right the way down to bedrock. But obviously we can't have a cobweb drop at all times. You have to be able to close that up, and I'm going to do it making use of redstone. Now I've actually built up some of the circuitry here just to make sure that it does actually function, and it looks like it does. So I've been able to retract the 2 on either side, and then we're going to retract this one back underneath the house using a system that looks a little bit like this. So we have now got all of the elements to retract the main section the thing that matters the most, essentially. Now I just need to connect it up, which this side seems to be fine, and then this side should be even simpler, and now it's all fully in place. So if I just change up the combination again, everything should activate in terms of the bells and everything, and our bridge. Oh gosh. That's not right. I totally forgot that that redstone line out the back there is connected up to a redstone clock. That has not really gone to plan. That's a little bit more like it. Right, time to add in all of the cobwebs. And I think this is going to look rather impressive. So these ones should be the final ones. And there we go. I mean, geez, I would not want to fall in there. I mean, there's really no way out. Like, you would just be stuck in there. But on the topic of being stuck in places, currently there's actually no way out of this zone here. If you got there, then you'd be stuck there. So I've created this little corridor which runs out to a secret exit. So if I hit this button, everything opens up and then everything gets concealed. The only thing giving us away at the minute is this little piece of dirt. But there isn't particularly much that I can do about that. So there we go. This is our peaceful, safe house, all done and dusted. And I can't get over how cool it looks. I want to live here. I actually want to live here. Currently, everything is unlocked because both of our combination locks are correct. I've already picked up my compliments, but if we just walk through this area here, we have got clean access straight the way through into the safe house. We have a little bridge that stops us from falling into all the cobwebs, and we have access to this wonderful little abode. I mean, it's a tiny bit compact, and there's only one chest. There's not too much storage, but the most important thing is we know that we're very, very safe. Because if I just run across to the outside and activate some of these combination locks, you'll see that people aren't really likely to want to visit this place. So first things first, our easy entrance has now been blocked off, and we have to make our way through this entire incredibly slow and incredibly loud maze. And if by some remarkable feat of endurance we manage to actually make it to the end of the maze, then, well, firstly we're going to get insulted. We're going to get majorly insulted, and then when we actually drop down to get to the house, we'll see that the bridge isn't actually there, and this is our life now. This is how we exist. This is how we interface with the world. Yes, I did forget to fill in these holes, okay? I built the obsidian when the bridge was popped out, alright? It's not my fault. Alright, let's shut off this horrendous noise. So we've got the green wool on that side, and then on this side we need to have the green concrete, and everything goes back to peace and quiet, and we have access to our safe house once again. This has been incredibly, incredibly fun. I've really, really enjoyed building this. It's been very entertaining. It's totally daft, but daftness is sort of my thing. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya! And this for me is like a 2-stage entertaining video. Actually recording it was so much fun. I've absolutely loved this recording session, but then I would say arguably the most entertaining part for me is when I post it, and there's lots of people that don't understand that this is sort of a joke. And they're going to critique all of the methods that I used and call it not a safe house. I can't wait.